Earlier this month, Congress sent the President another continuing resolution to allow more time to resolve a partisan impasse that has us on the brink of a government shutdown once again. The current episode is yet another example of the breakdown of what should be the basic nuts and bolts of governing, keeping the government open and funded. In the last 40 years, we've succeeded only 4 times in passing all of the appropriation bills on time. And so I come to the floor today to talk about the need to reform our broken budget and appropriations process and to lay out a few ideas I have for how to do that. To start, one easy thing we could do to improve the process would be to change the names of the Budget and Appropriations Committee to better reflect each committee's function. The Budget Committee, which is tasked with crafting an annual fiscal framework to guide Congress, really should be called the Debt Control Committee. Changing these committees' names would more clearly delineate their actual responsibilities and thereby make it easier for them to be carried out and understood by the public. A second important change would be to finally admit that Congress is not capable of sending 12 appropriation bills to the President before the September 30th end of the fiscal year, each year. To address this problem, I've proposed moving to a biennial system and having the number of appropriation bills considered each year so that 6 would be considered in the first session of Congress and 6 would be considered in the second, each of them, of course, for 2 years to allow for more planning. By providing a more realistic and attainable schedule, we could allow for a more thoughtful process for considering individual bills. We would free up more time for oversight of federal spending. We'd actually get to look at some of the details of the dollars we're spending. We could also give agencies the certainty that they need to plan and make wise decisions regarding how to implement funding. But successful and timely enactment of the appropriations bills is only part of the solution. We also need to look at the mandatory side of the legislature and programs that don't have adequate revenue to maintain the obligations, ones we don't ever get to make a decision on. Any new mandatory programs should be self-financing or offset by the elimination of existing programs that we would continue to fund. In other words, nothing should be mandatory if it doesn't have a stream of money big enough to pay for it. Each of the above suggestions would improve our process and help us control spending and meet our constitutional obligations. I plan to pursue them in the next Congress and look forward to working with my colleagues on these and other ideas.